Morning, everybody. It's the 9th of November. We're Signal Centre Talking Ball. I'm Joe Neighbour, joined by Steve O'Hare. Morning, Steve.
Good morning, mate.
How you doing?
All right, not too bad, thank you.
Good, good. Okay, so we're going to get stuck straight in today. So headlines overnight: Bitcoin jumped past the $68,000 mark for the first time to make a new all-time high. I think Ethereum did the same. That is hitting a new all-time high. Steve will come onto some charts on that shortly. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve is warning that prices of riskier assets keep rising, making them more susceptible to perilous plunges if the economy takes a turn for the worse. There is a number of stocks out there, as well as obviously indices and cryptocurrencies, that look a bit silly at the minute on the charts, I think, and are way overdue some sort of correction. So it is feeling a bit scary out there, I think. The fragility in China's commercial real estate could spread to the US if it deteriorated dramatically. That's according to the Fed again. And they've said that difficult to predict volatility, similar to this year's meme stock frenzy, could become more frequent as social media increasingly influences trading. Also, the Federal Reserve Governor said, Brainard, that is, said that he's said to have interviewed for the top job at the US Central Bank when she visited. Sorry, Brainard is a woman. She visited the White House last week, signaling that Chair Jerome Powell has a serious rival as President Joe Biden considers who will lead the Fed for the next 4 years. So that could be quite interesting. Previous Fed chairwoman in charge was Janet Yellen, I think. Is that right?
Yeah,
Steve?
sounds right.
Yeah, cool. Okay, with regards to COVID, the French economic activity reached a level in August not seen since before the COVID-19 pandemic and has continued to rise since, aided by a strong recovery in the services sector, which is good news. It was a bit of a downbeat session overnight in the markets, largely treading water or losing ground. Japanese indices have been the most notable moves, with the topics in the Nikkei down about 0.8%, despite a 7-year high in the Economy Watchers Sentiment Survey. So we have got a few bits out today on the economic front, which we'll come on to shortly, but I think that gives us a nice opportunity to take a look at some charts. So Steve, Bitcoin at all-time highs. I think Ethereum doing something similar. Is that where you want to start today, or is there something else catching your eye?
No, I'll start there, Joe. Yeah, as we can see, this is a weekly chart. We've broken through this band of resistance that we had. Well, from basically, we can say this resistance started from March, April this year, and continued into October, obviously. And we've managed to break above that 67,000. Well, it was just above 67,000 was the original high. Got up to 68,564 on this chart, and still looking pretty strong. No real signs of it slowing, apart from the momentum of it, but it seems to have picked up on the shorter term time frames. So we were showing evidence of bearish divergence on the short term time frames. That's dissipated. It's still there on the long-term charts. Let's take a look at the daily chart. Well, even overall, this sort of extended move higher has actually negated the bearish divergence here as well. If we really focus on these highs, we can see we're above it. It's a strong open. Definitely room for further upside. Volume dying down a little bit, maybe that can give you a little bit of indication of divergence, but maybe not. Let's focus on the ones that maybe are a little bit, offer a little bit more value. Ethereum has extended nicely above the all-time highs, with a that has moved 15% above the all-time highs, so that's looking pretty good. And again, no sign. We've saw a nice bullish hammer last week on the 6th, and then we've extended higher and challenging the 4,840 we're trading now, so really nice. Cardano has had a really decent uptick, which has been in the doldrums for a little while, so that's the interesting one for me. We're trading to 28 at the moment, which was the previous spike on the 21st of October. Resistance above comes at 237, but really for me, the 247 to 250 area is the level to watch in Cardano. Really need to break above there. That will act as resistance initially, and maybe a good chance to fade as momentum starts to stall on the Bitcoin and Ethereum move. So watch out for that. But yeah, all looking pretty rosy as far as cryptos are concerned. I'll be providing a video later in the morning on cryptos, looking at a bit more detail of it. On the commodity side of things, let's take a look at oil first. This is a daily chart. We've seen a couple of positive days of price action, and that was basically from the non-farm Friday and yesterday carried over, although volume dropping off. Still have a bearish negative momentum on the MACD, but it's on the shorter term chart, it's looking a bit more constructive, really. We've got this bearish channel, which we expect to find some resistance coming in around about the $83 level in WTI crude oil. We've got Ichimoku cloud resistance, and also we'll be extending this higher. So a real number of resistance levels to target, really, just above between the 83 and the $83.50 mark. So watch out for that. Again, looking positive. This reaction higher looks to extend and retest this resistance levels. 82.52 probably the first one to breach. Similar in Brent crude oil, but we are challenging that top of that channel, the downward channel, and that's looking a little bit more spicier, I think. Expecting really a further test of this resistance coming in at 83.50 to 60. Break above there should target $84, and then 84.88. So on the support side of things, we did have a basically a gap up open on Monday. That's come down and been retested at 82.70 and extending higher currently. So 82.70 will, well, between 82.50 and 82.70, that will provide support so far. Break of there could then maybe tell us that it's not going to happen anytime soon. Gold continues to probe higher. We are about to retest the resistance just a bit above here, 1934. We've got a trend line drawn in which takes out 1, 2, 3, 4 points. We did extend higher, so we could potentially redraw this trend line and tell us that resistance is coming in around about 1830. That might be a little bit of a better one to take into account. This channel that we're retesting, but you can see these highs from back here, 1834 to 35 area. That is where we really need to break above to open up the upside. We'll have minor resistance at 1850, 1916 above that. Until then, we remain in this channel. Support coming in really at around about the 1815 to $1800 level. That'll be psychological. Let's have a look at the 4-hour chart to see a little bit more closely. These are the points where we're looking to retest the resistance. We're looking to retest. It is extended quite aggressively, and as we're getting close to the highs, we're seeing the momentum slowing down, obviously, because it is quite an exponential move, quite a decent move that we've seen over just a few days. We've seen a nearly 4% up move in gold. Not bad, eh? Moving across to indices. FTSE remains strong, and again, we're challenging decent resistance levels. We got up to 73.30 yesterday, and we have broken back above, closed just below 7,300 psychological level, and that we're above it now. So looking at quite strong this morning in FTSE. DAX trading close to its all-time highs again. That now is coming in at 16,090, trading just below there, trading about 25 points lower than that. So looks to be tested again today. Support below has been found in the form of the 16,000 psychological level just below there. Break of there really required for a retest of this upward trending support. So looking quite positive for DAX at the moment. Again, all-time highs in the Dow. coming in at 36,563. Again, had a bit of a dip down overnight, but looking quite promising this morning, trading at 36,415, and the uptrend, the short-term uptrend is definitely there to be seen. On other time frames, on the daily chart, we saw this rejection of this all-time highs. That's what we seem to do. We seem to get a new all-time high, then an afternoon rejection, and then a grind higher as well. We can see the sort of like constant higher lows over the past couple of weeks. Nasdaq has topped out a little bit. We've still got some earnings to come from tech stocks. I think we've got Walt Disney later. That'll be nice to watch. And we posted a shooting star on the daily chart on non-farm Friday. Negative session yesterday for Nasdaq, and a sort of inner session today. Really, we haven't managed to sort of break above yesterday's or below yesterday's range. Support really will come in the form of 16,280. Resistance at 16,400 before the 16,460 high is able to be challenged. On the 4-hour chart, we've seen momentum stalling and reversing into negative. We had the crossover on the MACD, that's negative, while price action is remaining around about the same. So looking for this move to maybe potentially stall and really have to get a break below the 16,275 to really challenge the upward trending support. S&P's new all-time high in S&Ps. We got up to 4,720 before posting a shooting star. That was on Friday. We haven't quite managed to get up to all-time highs this week, though. Stalled just in front of it and under a little bit of pressure with momentum slowing down ever so slightly. So again, watch out for support at around about the 4,680 or 4,675 to 4,680. That was a break of there, could open up a little bit of a retest to the upward trending support on that. Aussie 200 under a little bit of pressure, although it's trying to fight back over the last 3 hours. Support coming in at 7,430. Break below there should open up a retest around about the 7,400 psychological level. Above, we've got 7,492 acting as resistance. Really need to sort of see prices overcome there, and we can see that should open up a real challenge of the 7,540, which is a long-term resistance level on the 4-hour chart. China's still under a little bit of pressure. We've seen overnight price action stall and reverse lower. The swing low at 15,425 needs to be overcome to get below there, and 15,350 really would open up a more extended correction lower. As we all know, I'm talking about the 14,500 level. That's the level to really watch, but that's 1,000 points away, so not anytime soon. The head and shoulders formation in Hang Seng still evident, still has a little bit of substance to it, and really we need to see a break below. Let's draw a little horizontal trend line in there. From here, really need to see a break below 24,600 to get excited about this. We've seen momentum is pretty flat. Price action has moved lower. So potentially that there is evidence of bullish divergence there, so be aware of that. On the 4-hour chart, though, we've got quite a significant candle between 12 and 4 this morning, which has engulfed the previous 4 4-hourly candles. So slightly negative on the Hang Seng. Nikkei, we were looking at this flag to sort of like post higher. It did move higher, not far enough though. Let's cancel that flag formation. And under a bit of pressure, managed to break below the 29,400. It's trying to retest that level now, and we should find a little bit of resistance there and support just below on the Ichimoku cloud. So that's about it. You could take over on FX, Joe.
Lovely, thank you, Steve. Okay. Dollar index starting point, as always, this is the bullish upward channel that continues to support prices. We did see a bit of a rejection at this key resistance level around about 94.50, posting a bit of a shooting star and a new high there, but reversed to close lower on the session. That was on the 5th of November, on Friday. So yesterday we saw a bit more selling, but remain within this channel and backed up a bit more with further selling today down towards 94.00. So big round number for some support there potentially. But while we remain within this bullish channel, I think the overall bias remains bullish and we can expect higher prices. But ultimately, we do need to try and clear these two levels here. We've got this yellow line at 94.47 and above that at 94.74. So above those levels, we can look for higher prices up towards this kind of region, but ultimately expecting prices to remain within this bullish channel. So on the flip side of that, euro dollar continues to find some support around about 115.25. We did see a nice reversal candle posted again on the 5th of November, making a marginal new low, but then closing up on the day and pushing higher. We saw continued gains yesterday, but we're a bit flat today, so could go very much either way. But ultimately, expecting prices to be contained within this short-term downtrend channel, which comes in around about 116.64 today. So expecting the upside to be capped around this sort of level, and ultimately for lower prices to be seen. If we do take out these lows down here, that's indicated by this blue support line at 15.25, then I'm just expecting a grind lower really towards our ultimate price objective, which is down here at 110.58, which is the measured move of this head and shoulders top pattern that continues to play out in my opinion. So still looking for lower prices there. If we look at cable, not much going on there, although we did see a reasonable bounce yesterday, engulfed all of the previous day's session, which was a bit of a shooting star, a hammer candle into this support zone down here at 134.11. Overall, still in a downtrend in the short term, so really expecting lower prices, but this was a pretty decent looking candle yesterday, so I guess it'll be dictated by what happens with the dollar index in the short term. If that continues to trade within that bullish channel, then I think it's going to override any strength that we see in sterling, and we can expect to see lower prices. So below this key support level here at 134.11, the next price objective we've got is down at 133.00 and 132.00, which are the big round numbers. And below that we have a 38.2% fib level at 131.65. In terms of the upside, I'd be expecting prices to be capped around about 137.25 ish. I think that's where sellers will step in again to confirm this sequence of lower highs. Looking at some of the riskier currencies, in fact, before I do that, I'm just going to take a quick look at euro sterling, because that has posted quite an interesting looking candle yesterday, a bearish engulfing candle. So we posted a shooting star on the Friday, backed that up with an engulfing candle yesterday, and that looks to be maybe running its course in the short term after a bit of a bounce from new lows. So maybe an opportunity to fade that into that straight weakness that we saw yesterday and expect a continuation lower. On Aussie yen, that looks quite interesting. We've posted an inverse head and shoulders. We busted through this multiple levels of resistance that were posted on the daily chart, and we made new highs up to 86.25. But interestingly, the pullback has come bang in line with this inverse head and shoulders. It's an upward sloping one, and also a 38.2% Fibonacci retracement from the low of this right shoulder to the high that we made, and we're posting a bit of buying on the move initially to that candle. We're still lower on the day, but it has been at worse levels, and clearly we've seen some buying activity take place. So that's a really interesting short-term level to potentially target for a continuation higher. So that looks quite interesting today. Euro yen also looks quite interesting. That broke out of this sort of double bottom pattern above the 130.56 level, went on to come a couple of ticks shy of the target of the double bottom, which is at 133.53, and since then we've seen a bit of a correction lower, and now down to retest the reverse side of that double bottom pattern. So maybe we'll see some buyers step in here, and this from a technical perspective could be an interesting level to consider getting long if you still believe we're going to see continued yen weakness in the coming weeks and months. Euro dollar yen, we'll have a quick look at that as well. Steve and I were talking about this maybe being a flag. The correction is sort of spilling over on that now and looks to be pushing a bit lower. We do have some supports down at 112.22 to 1 1171. So there is potential for it to correct down to this kind of region in here, but still remain bullish overall. So maybe some interest forming in some of these yen currencies in the short term. That's it from me.
Cheers, Joe.
Okay, the gun to the head trades from yesterday, almost not worth mentioning, Steve. They were so boring. We had trades on Nasdaq and FTSE, both of us buying the indices, but I was down 6 ticks, you were down 2 ticks on the FTSE. A collective 0.17R worth of losses between the two of us, which is certainly not a disaster, but it's not going to keep many people interested if we keep coming up with these sorts of trades. So hopefully we can pull out something a bit better today. But we are in need of volatility for these trade ideas to work, because they are only in a very small period of time. So we'll see what we can do today. Steve, anything you particularly fancy?
Well, I'm going to buck the trend. I'm going to go for a buy trade idea in Dow. That's the one I'm targeting. Looking for an all-time high today. Getting long here at 36,404.5. Stopping out at 36,300, which is quite a pretty tight stop, but it's the swing low of this 3 o'clock last night bar, and targeting a move to 36,613.5. Just a 2-to-1 risk reward for me on this. So yeah, pretty boring, but maybe boring
should
works.
Our viewers be worried that you've bought indices the last 2 days?
Yeah, I think they should. This is it. This is what happens just before the sort of like the absolute apocalypse. But let's hope not, eh?
Yeah, let's hope not. I'm going with the same trade I did yesterday, and again, it is pretty boring, unfortunately. It's buying Nasdaq. Steve mentioned that it was consolidating on the daily charts. A couple of sort of indecision candles been posted the last couple of sessions, but it's lagging the Dow and the S&P just in the short term. So I think it could spring back into life pretty soon. This is the hourly chart, clearly in an uptrend, as you can see here, demonstrated by this uptrend blue line. A little bit of a consolidation ongoing at the moment. If it can break out of this sort of small consolidation, then we're looking for higher prices. So I'm buying at 16,353, targeting a move to 16,533 with a stop at 16,260, which is a 2R return if it plays out today. I don't really see what else we can do, Steve, to be honest, because there's not much lining up for us technically to have a go at.
No, definitely not.
Okay, so day ahead, we've got some appearances from Christine Lagarde from the ECB, from Jay Powell from the FOMC, and from Andrew Bailey from the Bank of England. So there'll be some central bank focus today throughout Europe and the US. At 10 a.m. today, we've got the German ZEW index. The economic sentiment index is expected to fall to 19 from 22.3. And then later this evening at 11:30 p.m, we've got the Australia Westpac Consumer Confidence number. The index is expected to fall to 104. So in terms of actual economic data points, not much. I think we've been keeping an eye out for the commentary from these big hitters at these central banks. So keep your wits about you if you're trading today. Maybe this will lead to some volatility in the markets for us to potentially capitalize on.
Brilliant.
Anything else to add, Steve?
No, nothing to add.
Lovely. Right. Well, have a good day, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. And until then, trade safe.
Cheers.
Bye.